Okay, so 812 notes, exponential equations from a graph. All right, the notes that we're going to take are, we're going to explain what our equation is. Let me get my pen here. Let's see, y. So what does a general equation of a exponential look like? Okay, so when I'm talking exponential, let me do this. Let's draw a little picture. What does an exponential graph look like, guys?
A curve.
Good, it's a curve, it's not a line, right? And is there a point that it usually passes through that we care about?
1.
Right, it usually passes through 0, 1. Right, so there's your curve, it usually passes through 0, 1. Today, we're gonna look at points where we can change that to be like 0, 2, or 0, 3, or 0, 4, or 0, maybe we want -3. You know, we can move this all the way down here if we want to, right? So we can change where it crosses the y-axis, and we're going to learn how to do that today. Okay, so 1 second. Go to, okay, so the general form of an equation, an exponential function, looks like this, right? General form is y equals a times b to the x power. That is the general form of an equation. Now we want to say, hey, what does a stand for and what does b stand for? Because we know what xy stands for, right? Somebody want to unmute themselves and read that?
Any point on the curve.
All right, xy stands for any point on the curve. So like a point right here, this is an xy. A point right here, this is another xy. This point right here is another xy. This point over here is another xy. And I should have put like an arrow over here. Okay, and we'll talk about where this crosses later and asymptotes later. I think we talked about asymptotes a little bit last time. So x and y, this one and this one, are just any point that we can plug in. We can pick x to be any value we want. X is going to be all real numbers. Is all real numbers, right? That's the domain. That's what we call the domain. Let's write that out. X can be anything. X can be -100, right? I can make x be -100 over here. I could make x be +100 way over here. It could be +100, it could be -100. It could be anywhere past that or in between that, right? X can be any real number. Y is not going to be all real numbers. Our range is not going to be all real numbers. Our y values only go above 0. So I'm going to put y is greater than, or, oh, not equal to, sorry, just greater than 0. It can't be equal to 0. So what does A and B stand for? Anybody remember what A and B stand for? Want to give it a shot, a try, a guess?
A is the starting value and B is the growth, so how much it's multiplying by. Okay,
good. A is the start value, right? Where does this start at?
And the y-intercept.
Okay, good. So no, that's right. That's correct. We do call it the start value. And we also call it the y-intercept. Okay, that's totally correct. Both of those are correct. And then this is reminding me to make a table. So I'm going to make a table right below this. Table, XY table. It's going to be super important for today. Okay, so an XY table. And so, you know, usually we have 0, 1 in this XY table, and we have like -1, -2 up here, 1, 2, 3, 4 down here, and we come up with the table, right? And our start value is this guy right here, the 0, 1. Okay, so we find other values based on what our equation are. So A is the start value, okay? Where is A? A is in front of the exponent part. B, we could say, is the base, right? But it's also the growth, right? It's the growth factor. Growth factor. It's like how much it's growing. Or we call it the multiplier. I'm going to call it, your book calls it the multiplier. That's a good name. because it's how much you multiply each time, because this is going to be growing by some multiplying factor. So B is the multiplier, okay? So B is the multiplier, and I wanted to erase one of these. Let's see, I wanted to erase the circle around the X and the Y, and I accidentally erased the X. Let me bring it back there, X. Okay, so A times B to the X power, right? Which usually looks something like this. Example, Y equals 4 times 3 to the X power, right? That's just an example. And, or I could have another example. I could have Y equals 2 to the X power, right? We start with a simple one. Here, my A value is 1, right? A equals 1 because there's no number in front. So this is like 1 times 2 to the X power, like that. So A is 1 and B is 2, right? For this example. What are A and B for this example right here? You can type it in the chat if you don't want to talk. Type in the chat, please. What is A and what is B for this problem that I'm circling right now, or putting a square rectangle around? Please type in the chat. What is A? What is B? So I know you're paying attention out there, and I'm not talking to myself. All right, one person. Yay, good. Good job, Reese. You kind of put it to everybody. Please private message me. You're good. Good job, Crystal, yes. Okay, so A is 4, B is 3, right? So this means our start value is 4, and our multiplier is 3. Okay, let's see. Somebody sent me another message. Okay, good. So if I were to do a graph for that one, if I were to do a graph for this, I would start at 4. When I say start, there's not really a starting point because this goes on forever, but I'm saying that this point is going to start at 4. So I'm going to do like a little graph down here. Here's my x-axis. So like 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to go through 0, 4, right? And the way we usually write it is like this, with a 0 in front. 0, 4. It's going to go through 0, 4. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And what is it gonna, we can make a table and find what other values there are. 0, 4. If I put a 1 in here, 0, 4, 1. If I put a 1, how do you evaluate this? It's 4 times 3 to the first power. That's going to be 4 times 3, which is 12, right? So it's going to be 1, 12. So really I need to go like way up here. I don't know. I'm going to say 12s right here. I'm just guessing. I'm going to say, hey, 12's right there. If I put in 2 up here, let's see, it's going to be 3 to the second power, which is 9 times 4, which is 36. And I don't have a lot of space. 36 would be way up here, or up here somewhere, right? So this graph is going to go like, oops, a little over more. Like this, and then it's going to curve, 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 curve. Is it going to cross the x-axis? Will it ever go negative and cross the x-axis, guys?
No.
No. So we have what's called an asymptote, and this is what I was talking about last time. The asymptote is an invisible line, but we're going to make it visible. We're going to draw it in with a dotted line, right? And the asymptote is the x-axis for most of these problems. So the asymptote, A-S-Y-M-P-T-O-T-E, the asymptote is the x-axis, which has an equation of what? Who remembers last time? What is the equation of the x-axis? Y
is equal to 0.
Yeah, the equation of the x-axis is y equals 0. So the equation of that pink line, the asymptote, right? The graph never crosses this line. What is an asymptote? It's the graph never crosses this line. That's what an asymptote is, okay? It's a line that the graph never crosses. So this graph is definitely going to curve. So that's why you don't want to stop it at 0, 4. You don't want it, we call that a start value, but it's kind of a misnomer because it goes past 0, 4, right? And it's going to go past it and keep going to the left, 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 but it will approach the x-axis, but it will never cross the x-axis, okay? So that is important, knowing what an asymptote is, knowing what the start value is, what the A value is, and what the B value is, or the multiplier. Okay, and we're gonna figure out how to find the multiplier later. Well, now they're gonna give it to us, but eventually in some of the problems we do, we're gonna have to find it. And like one of the problems we're gonna do today. Okay, guys, so this is your notes for today before we go on to the Desmos activity. Is there any questions before we go on to the Desmos? And I erase these notes. Okay, so. All right, if there's no questions, we're gonna go on to the Desmos. I need to erase this. And let me find the Desmos. So to get access to Desmos, you go into the classroom and we're gonna go to assignment 23, exponent web. What we're doing today is called the exponent web. Okay, and D1 Desmos. Okay, you're gonna click on the link right here. To get to the Desmos, you have to go into the classroom and click on the assignment 23 classwork link. Okay, and then it will take you to, once you click on that, it'll ask for your name, and then you put in your name. I already signed in once, so I don't want to show you. Ah, look, I see people. All right, Olivia, Jonna, Crystal, Willow, Oliver, Reese, Max, Eli, Django are in. We're waiting for the rest of you to get in. And you know what, I should have, it's fine. I didn't want to display all these answers, so how do I get out of here? Let's see, I can click on here and look at some of your guys' screens. Yeah, I could do that. So I want to anonymize so you don't have names. Now you have fake names. All right, so screen number 1. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. Can I present? Here we go. We're gonna answer this, guys, and I'm gonna do number 1 with you. You're supposed to do 2 and 3 by yourself, but let's, so choose a number, a multiplier between 1.5 and 2, and round to the nearest 10th. Don't do like 1.98, just between 1.5, 2, right? You get to choose a number. So put any number you want, whatever. You could do 1.5, you could do 1.8, you could do 2, whatever you want. Okay, you get to pick. With the multiplier you picked and a y-intercept of 2, write your exponential function. So we know that y-intercept is 2, and you know the multiplier. So now write the equation like this. Okay, and so I don't know, so y equals, what's my a value going to be, guys? If we know the y-intercept is 2.
It's 2.
It's 2, right? So everybody's going to type in 2 right here. And then I just like to use parentheses for my b value. Your b value is going to be whatever number you picked up here. I'm gonna say I picked 1.8. You pick whatever you don't pick 1.8. You pick, if you happen to pick 1.8, you pick whatever number you want. Okay, if you picked 1.8, change it. Now I want to do exponent. How do I do exponent, guys? Shift 6. I'm going to write it down here. What I'm saying is Shift 6. Okay, you press Shift 6, and then you press the X button. Right? Oops, I went away from it. I have to get back into it. X, so that you get an exponent. So I went 2 parentheses, which means times 1.8 to the x power, and then whatever yours is in there. Okay, so I know that it's going to go through the point 0 what? It should go through 0.2 because that's the start value, and the a value is 2, so 0.2. What is it going to go through for 1? Well, I have to plug this in a calculator. Hopefully you picked an easier number. Well, and you do need a calculator. So I have my calculator. I'm going to plug in. So in my calculator, I'm going to do, give my pen back. So if I were to plug this in, I'd get y equals 2 times 1.8 to the first power. So this would be 2 times 1.8. So in my calculator, I go 2 times 1.8 is 3.6. So I'd type 3.6 here. Then for 2, I do 2 times 1.8 to the second power, right, for this one. So I do that in my calculator. You don't do 1.8. Do whatever number you have. And I get 6.48. Okay, now I'm going to plug in 3, which would be 2 times 1.8 to the third power. Put this in my calculator. And it's really nice if you have a scientific calculator to use. If you don't, you can use your computer, your phone. There are scientific calculator programs. There are scientific calculators on the computer, just Windows. You don't have to do a whole app. 11.6 is fine. It's 11.66, but whatever. Then I'm going to plug in 4, 2 times 1.8 to the fourth power. So plug that into my calculator. 2 times 1.8 to the fourth power. In the calculator, the exponent button for my calculator looks like this, right? Some calculators look like this. It's y to the x, like that. That's your exponent button. If you have like a Casio, I think, looks like this. If you have a TI, Texas Instrument, TI, Texas Instrument, it's going to look like this, or like this, or something like that. It's not going to be the ET. Don't use e to the x. That's something for algebra 2, okay? So it's going to be y to the x or this exponent button, or shift 6. How do you get that button on a calculator? On a computer, shift 6, okay? How do you write it in Google Form or Delta? Shift 6, okay? And then so when I do 4, 2 times 1.8, I get 20.99. I'm just going to round it to 21. So we're going to graph these now, and you use your computer tool to graph this. I'll model it for you, I guess. So I'm going to put this dot 0, 2, and notice this goes to 10. It's not going by ones, right? So that means this is 2, 4. I should use a text box. I should use a text box here. 6 instead of trying to write with my mouse. It's kind of hard. 2, 4, 6, and then oh no, it's not even going by twos. It's going by like, so halfway would be 5. So this should be 5 right here. So 5. So this would be like 2.5 right here. 2.5. And this would be 7.5. 7.5. Okay. Yes, thank you. Okay, so I want to go 0, 2. Well, if this is 2.5 in the middle right here, 0, 2 is going to be slightly below it. So like right here, I'm going to put a dot. Then I want 1, 3.6. Well, 1 is actually over here. It's actually like 1's right here, 2's right here, and 3's right here. You can barely see it, but I'm going to make it bigger. So if I want to go 1, 3.6, 1, 3.6 is somewhere around here. Okay. And then I want to go 2, 6.48, 2. So 6.48, I don't know, is somewhere around here, under 7.5. And then 3, 11.6. 3, this is like 12.5 right here. 12.5. So hard to write with this mouse. So 3, 11.6 is going to be somewhere around here, right? Is this a line or a curve, guys? And it's hard to draw a curve. I'm going to actually use this line tool. I'm going to connect my dots. Connect that. Connect that. Connect that. And then the next one would be 4, 21. And 21 is like up here. So, and 4 is like over here, right? So 4 is right here. So I could still do 4, 21 is somewhere over there. So this is actually a curve, not a line. So we answer, why is the graph shaped this way? You know, and you could put, why is it curved? It's a curve because, why? You fill in the blank. Okay, make sure you press submit to submit your answers, right? Press submit here, press submit up here. I chose 1.8, so now it's going to let me submit it because I filled in everything. So press submit here, submit here. You can edit your response if you make a mistake. Are we good there? And we go on to the next one. So you can press next. There's 3 slides, so we just did the first slide together. All right, let me erase my writing so we can see what this slide says. Okay. Using an exponential graph. Okay, I just want to see how you guys are doing. So I want to exit out of here. Can I exit out of here? I just want to check real quickly. How are you guys doing? Right. Summary. I'm gonna go to summary. Okay. All these people on the first slide, these people are on the second slide. These people highlighted are on the second slide with me. Okay, good. Imhotep. It's from the ancient Egyptian mummy period in the movie The Mummy, if you've ever seen that movie. Let me go back. So I just wanted to see where you guys are at. Oh, I need to go back to student. Okay, and we'll present, make it bigger. Although I don't know how big, that's not really bigger. Let me do Control plus. Ah, yes, yes. Okay, here's the graph of another function, right? What's the start value, guys, for this graph?
3.
3, right? So a equals 3. So our a value, you know, we're thinking y equals a times b to the x power. So this is 3 times some multiplier to the x power. So we can put in 3. You're going to type 3 in here, not so you're gonna type 3, right? So go ahead and type 3 with your little typer text button. Use the text button too. That's nice when you use the text button instead of the pen. It's a lot nicer. Please use the text button for that. Well, oh, you don't have to. You just type in there, right? You click on it and you can type in. You don't have to use a text button. Okay. Oh, what's 1? 1 is 12. So
12.
you're gonna type in 12. What about 2? What's our value for 2?
48.
Good. When x is 2, y is 48. So we're gonna put 48. So we need to figure out the next 2, but we'll get to that in a second. What is the initial value starting point? Where do you see this on the graph? So where is our starting point, guys?
3.
Okay, so go ahead and type in 0, 3. 0, 3 is the starting point. Okay, and really it goes through 0, 3, right? It doesn't stop there. So even though we call it the starting point, that's kind of a misnomer. Okay, and where do you see this on the graph? Where do we see this? What do we call this?
The y-intercept.
Exactly, it is the y-intercept. Okay, so 0, 3 is the starting point and it is the y-intercept. Done. D. Next one, C. What is the multiplier and where do you see that on the graph? You can sketch on the graph to help show your point. If I want to sketch on the graph, maybe I would draw like a, I don't know, like a rise over run type thing. Like a rise over run type thing, a slope triangle. Okay. What is the growth factor, guys? What is our B value?
Times 4.
Times 4. How did you know that?
3 times 4 is equal to 12, and 12 times 4 is equal to 48.
Okay, so can we take the 12 and divide it by 3? Can we do that? Can we take like this number and divide it by the number in front of it? Or in other words, take the y2 and divide it by the y1, like that? And work backwards and get 4. So what we're saying is the multiplier here, guys, is 4. So we have our equation now. And we could check that because also 48, we could take the 48 and divide it by 12. And that also equals 4. You can take any 2 terms and you take the term that's latter and divide it by the one before it. 48 divided by 12 is 4. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So we have a multiplier. So how do I find the next term?
Multiply 48 by 4, which is
Okay.
100.
Which is 100. Got you cut out.
Oh, 192.
192. All right. Yep, I just put my calculator, verified that. Yes, it is 192. And then to get the next number, we're going to multiply 192 times 4 again. If you have your calculator, just press times 4. You don't have to type in the 192 because it already calculated it for you.
768.
Good. 768. So we can keep going, you know, and we know once we know what the multiplier is, you just keep multiplying by 4 every time. So yeah, we can't graph all these points, right? Because they go off the graph, but that's okay. We can graph 3 of them and we can clearly see that there's a curve. So let's go in and let's answer this question. What is the multiplier and where do you see that? How does that appear on the graph? I'll let you guys answer that. So the multiplier is 4 and we see that by ... You fill in the blank. And then part D, what is the equation that the graph represents? So we have to type this equation in, right? So practice typing. It's important to be able to type answers in. Y equals 3, and I just use the parentheses, and it automatically, 2 parentheses automatically come up. I put 4, I arrow over to the right, then I press Shift 6, and then I put an X. Okay, that's how you type in an exponent. 3 parentheses 4, arrow to the right, Shift 6, X. And it looks like that. And you could, oh yeah, yeah, I don't know, the keyboard thing helps. And then you press submit, and then you're going to submit your answer. And then we're going to go to, then you can edit your response if you need to. We're going to go to the next slide. I need to erase my work here. And go to the next slide. Okay, so we have a new graph here. What is the initial value? What is the multiplier? What is the equation that the graph represents? I'm going to let you do this one. So take a few minutes. We're not going by ones here, right? We're going by going by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, 24. I think that's as far as you need to go. So go ahead and answer these 3 questions. What is the initial value? What is the multiplier? What is the equation of the graph? And then you need to fill in the table also. To help you. You see why we need to do a table every time, guys? And on your homework, it doesn't tell you to do a table, but the table really helps you to figure out the equation. So this is why I want a table on all of your homework, all 8 problems for the homework tonight. Okay, so I think most of you are working on this. A couple people, I lost a couple people after the second slide. Now there's a way to show, oh, I think I click on this and I can see your guys' answers. Okay. All right, are you guys good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, you're good to go. So there's nothing to press. You just have to press the submit button. Once you've pressed submit, it automatically saves your answers and I can see your answers, so you're good, right? Make sure you press submit. Some people didn't press submit on the second screen because some of you didn't get credit for that second screen. So I need you to make sure you click on the second screen that you press submit, like this person, this person, this person, this person did not submit answers for the second screen. Everybody with a dot here did submit, and all you guys with a dot here, good job. You've submitted all your answers, but some people are not submitting answers. So they're only gonna get partial credit on the classwork. And this is your classwork for today. Besides the notes, I do need you to upload the notes, right? So let's see, do you have a spot for that? Yeah, so you could just upload your notes. It says not to turn anything here, but I do actually want you to turn your notes in here. I'm gonna change that, let me edit that. You do not need to submit anything here. You need to turn in your notes here. You need to turn in your notes here because I forgot that we took notes and we need to, so I need to change this as well. I'm going to change this to, I'll just go ahead and change it to 10 points and I'll check for your Desmos here along with your notes. So your notes will be 5 points and your Desmos will be 5 points each. So for a total of 10, you have to submit both to get 10 points. All right. And so for the homework, you are doing this worksheet, right? These 8 problems. If you don't have a printer, that's okay. You could actually do it digitally too. See, this is where you open with and then annotate with Cami. So you could do it all digitally if you wanted to. I've never tried Google Docs. I don't know. Annotate with Cami, and that way you can write on it digitally. So you can do it digitally or you can do it physically. If you don't have a printer, you could just draw it out. There's only 8 problems. Graph paper would be nice. You can print out graph paper if you don't have graph paper. You know, you can always print some out, find a graph paper online and yeah, print it out. So, but you know, why would you print out graph paper if you could just print this out if you have printer capabilities? But I do want a table on each one of these. So make sure you put an XY table on all 8 problems and then the equation and answer these 4 questions, okay? So that's what you need to do for homework. That is due Monday at 10 a.m., but you were ending class early, so you could certainly finish it before the end of today. And